Alright, and we are live. Thank you for joining us again for another Sunday afternoon stream here on Sound Goblin Gaming. Due to some scheduling difficulties, Shiv is not able to join us today. So instead, we're going to be doing a little fill-in. We'll be back probably next Sunday with the end of Super Robot Wars T. But today, just to have something up and going, we're going to be doing a run of Final Fantasy V Career Day Randomizer. I am, as always, Bogrider Josh.
I am the Krampus.
And, yeah, so this is a randomizer for Final Fantasy V. Probably my favorite JRPG of all time. At the very least, the one I've definitely played the most. Career Day is a really cool randomizer. I don't remember if I've shown this off on stream before or not. I know I've definitely talked about potentially doing it, but I don't think I ever got around to it.
I don't think so.
So Career Day is a currently in development randomizer for Final Fantasy V. We're currently on version like 0.79, I want to say. Something along those lines. And, give me a second here. I'm going to adjust because it's doing some weird things with the aspect ratio and the capture. I'm going to do this. Mouse, behave yourself. There we go. Alright, that looks much better. But yeah, so as you can see, it's an open world randomizer of Final Fantasy V. So open world randomizer is a different sort of style of randomizer, usually reserved for games that have kind of multiple worlds or multiple sort of eras of the game. And so what they do is basically make it so you can kind of go anywhere you want at any time. It's a little bit different. They added some options to Career Day to actually lock it down a little bit more to make it more sane, I guess is the best way to make it more kind of constructed. But generally, what this is it's got all the storyline and cutscenes and everything pulled out from Final Fantasy V. So, if you're not familiar with the game, this is a terrible way to first experience it. But basically, you can go anywhere you want, at any time you want. And, this will be interesting. So as with typical randomizer stuff, the kind of stuff you would normally expect to happen is there. So, boss locations are randomized. Equipment, what's in chests and stuff like that is all randomized. And in this particular instance, in the case of Career Day, one of the interesting things it does with Final Fantasy V is randomizes what starting job you have. You do not start as freelancer, you start as something. And in this case, Time Mage. Now, when you start with a Mage class, it does automatically give you one magic of the appropriate type. So in this instance, with Time Mages, we have Slow. Starting with Time Mage is both good and bad. Time Mage is definitely one of the more powerful classes, but I have to find the right spells to make that happen.
Now, we just picked up, I believe, the ability to do black magic as well?
Nope, we got specifically the fire spell for black magic.
Black magic. Okay.
Just because it gave me the spell does not actually give me the ability to do black magic. I have to go find what will be called exclamation point black, or the black mage class, the black mage job.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of different options available for Career Day. All kinds of stuff you can do. So like there, for instance, bolt sword magic. I need to gain the ability to do sword magic to actually use that, but once I have sword magic, I'll have bolt. One of them tries to apply some level of logic to where stuff actually is placed, in that it kind of tiers things. Equipment and all of that stuff.
Right.
But where's the fun in that?
I was going to say, that's not the one we're playing on, this is.
It actually is a default option for the Career Day Randomizer at this point to actually have that turned on. But I don't really find that all that fun. I find it more fun to be able to like open the first chest in the game and get like Excalibur. Well, again, finding that ribbon is great, except I don't have anybody that can use it currently.
Accessories are tied to character classes?
Ribbons specifically can only be used by dancers or freelancers. Or if you get the equip ribbon ability.
Is that a thing from Vanilla 5?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, Final Fantasy V ribbons are only usable by dancer or freelancer.
Right, okay.
So one nice thing that this game does...
Just gives you the airship right
Well,
off
none of that, but also... So this is the default speed of the airship in Final Fantasy V, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. This is how fast the airship travels at all times in Final Fantasy V. One of the nice things they added in Career Day, and alternatively, if you're more interested in playing regular Final Fantasy V, the same people that do Career Day make a mod called... what the hell do they call it? Project Demi is what they call it, which adds all the quality of life improvements from Career Day to regular Final Fantasy V without actually doing the randomization. So that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
And one of those quality of life improvements is the ability to hold the B button and slow the airship the fuck down. So you can actually, you know, land in singular spots. Alright, I'm going to try to go here and then jump over there. So, again, just kind of trying to run through right now and get a lot of early game pickups. Check some early checks to kind of see what I can find and see if I can get anything decent.
Yeah.
So right there, I got white level 1 ability. So that gives me the ability to cast
And you got
level
the tame
1 white
ability.
spells. Yes, tame.
Of dubious use, but you have it.
Tame is kind of funny.
All I know is you can, like, store bears and then throw bears.
Oh, no, that's capture. That's a different thing.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, also it starts you with some equipment. Starts you with some equipment relevant to the class you're playing as, so you're not, like, bare naked if you got the wrong classes. But yeah, no, capture is broken as hell. Tame is strange. It works on things you don't think it should. Because, as you may have noticed from the description of Tame, it says allows you to tame beast-type monsters. Apparently, the definition of what qualifies as a beast-type monster is very loose. But yeah, so other things that Career Day does that are interesting. So over here, this is Tool. This is the first town in the game. And this, over here, is normally the beginner's house. Which is just where you go and like, hey, are you new to JRPGs? Like, is this your first time playing? You come in here, and it'll just kind of tell you some things about, you know, oh, let's talk about, you know, monsters in boxes, and let's talk about potions, and so on. So instead, they use this to actually tell you about how Career Day works.
Okay.
You know, all this stuff.
Right.
Oh no, a monster in a box.
And a goblin. Luckily, to be nice to the people inside, we've moved this fight outside into the grassy field.
So there is a lot of stuff. So as you can see, I have the ability to use white magic. I don't actually have any white magic yet, so it's just an empty menu. This is not, like, normally a thing that happens, because typically you'd have picked up Cure by now, at least. But it's fine. So you may have noticed there, I got a lot of experience and ABP, ability points, from that fight. That's because of another lovely change that Career Day has. So right here, reward multiplier. You can actually set the reward multipliers for XP and ABP. 1, 2, or 4. This is something you can set when you create the seed. That's kind of a newer thing they did. Also down here where it says encounters, off or on. You can actually turn random encounters on. They are off by default in Career Day. To mitigate this, one of the things they've done is, by normal default Final Fantasy V, bosses don't actually give experience. To make this game possible to actually do in a randomizer setting without, turning random encounters on, they actually do make bosses grant experience. So that makes life a little bit easier there. Now you're going to see me do a lot of things that are kind of nonsensical.
Yeah, the randomizers are really made for people who know the game well and want to challenge themselves with, like, oh, we're just going to throw a bunch of random stuff at you. And Final Fantasy V is built in such a way that really no matter what kind of random nonsense gets thrown at you, you are at least technically capable of doing any given combination of skills and classes and stuff to the end of the game.
Yep.
It might be hard, but you could do it.
This, by the way, that dance was literally just to get the dancers out of the way so I could go play this piano. The pianos are actually very important. There's a check tied behind playing every piano in the game. Actually, we're going to go check the barrel first down here. Earth Hammer. Okay, again, a very powerful thing to get if I can get somebody who can use the thing.
Hammers.
So another thing you would have to kind of know about Final Fantasy V is for the first few towns, the item shop is actually hidden inside the inns. So right there we have a Quip ribbon available to buy, so I can buy that and put the ribbon on somebody. It's not really worth it yet. I'm unlikely to face bosses that do status effects terribly early, but you never know. We'll see what happens. Okay, so here you can see sort of what the major part of the randomizer does. It randomizes every shop in the game. Yeah. I'm going to pick that up right away because Mute Sword solves a problem in this game.
Is that problem Rug Wizard?
Yes, that problem is Rug Wizard, the character, the boss known as Omniscient, who normally is at the top of one of a pair of twin towers, one of which is all both based on physical, and one of which is all based on magic. Rug Wizard is the top of the magic tower, who will reset the fight if you do anything but cast spells at him. However, if you have sword magic and mute sword, so the thing about sword magic in this game is all the status effect sword magics have a 100% effect chance as long as the thing is not immune to that status effect. And now that I have 2 ribbons, it's actually worth it for me to buy that. But if you have a status effect on your sword magic, you have a 100% chance of inflicting that status effect as long as the enemy is not wholly immune to that status effect. Rug Wizard is not immune to being muted, and the way that he resets the actual fight is by casting a spell called Reset. Okay, so here, what you see here is I've got white 4.
Yep.
So that will actually immediately let me pick up cast level 4 white spells. I also have Combine, which is stupidly broken, but I don't have access yet to, or verified access yet to combine items, so I don't know if I want to pick that up or not. But so what you do is you hit Omniscient with Mute Sword using Spellblades, and even though it technically counts as a physical attack, he's muted, so he can't cast Reset.
Yeah.
And he will spend the rest of his life basically doing nothing, because he'll continue to try to cast spells despite being silenced. I'm going to pick up Odin on the off chance I get a summon, because Odin is...
You've got Odin and Rama now. So.
No, I don't have Rama. I didn't buy Rama. Actually, as a matter of fact, buying Rama is a bad idea in this particular instance, because there are 2 things that I can get. I could get the ability to summon, or if I'm really lucky, I can actually get the highest level summoner ability, which is called Call. And what Call does is randomly summon a summon from your summon list for 0 MP.
Ah, okay. So if you have...
If I thin down the summon list to only be like Odin and like Bahamut or Sildra, Call is stupidly brokenly powerful.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I did just pick up Shiva, and there's no way for me to get rid of it, but that's fine. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like, you definitely have to sort of change the way you come at the game to think from a randomizer perspective. Because normally, you'd want to get Shiva and Rama and Ifrit and all that to have all of those, just because you're not going to get things like Odin or Bahamut until way later in the game. Hey, that guy just gave me haste, which I can currently use because
Nice.
right. So, but like I was saying, because you know you're not going to get Bahamut and Odin and all that stuff until way late in the game, and
And by that time, you've at least gotten a few other summons that I think you're forced into getting, like Ifrit and...
yeah, Ifrit you have to get. That is a storyline one. A couple of the others are storyline based. So yeah, you would definitely be getting some summons automatically. Do a quick ribbon on you. And then Galef, we are actually going to put equip sword on you because I have a mithril sword sitting around.
Yep.
That's going to give me a decent physical fighter. Yeah, Hunter, basically. Yeah, out of 9 birds, kind of. How's it going, by the way, Hunter?
I missed that. What did you just get?
Hold on.
Oh.
I got actual Excalibur.
Okay.
Hey, Butts, stop using white magic.
Nice.
And that's actual Excalibur, not Excalibur.
Or I think later translations do Excalibur or something.
Yes. In this, it is still Excalibur. Which is very subtle and also caused them to include a special character in this translation. So this randomizer is based off of and has to specifically use the old RPGE translation of the Super Nintendo ROM, otherwise weird things happen to the text. You can still totally play the game. Yeah, so there's Capture, actually,
Okay.
I just got, which is different than Tame. But you have to use the RPG translation, otherwise weird things happen to the text if you do it with, like, the GBA script backport.
Okay, that's good to have. This is shaping up to be a pretty good run, it looks like.
Yeah, we'll see. So there's a boss sitting there, so I'm going to come back here and I'm going to save after getting ridiculous things. So, as I said, Career Day is actually still in development. They're still working a lot on it, changing things around. So one of the most recent changes they made was they actually changed how boss randomization works. So it used to be that boss randomization was based on a tier system, and the tiers were just divided based on sort of where in the game things sat. So this spot, for instance, used to be considered a tier 1 spot because it was in the earliest part of... Ow. It was in the earliest part of World 1. And there were basically only like 9 tiers, technically I think 12, including the stuff from... Yeah, there we go. Including the stuff from the Void at the end of the game. Alright. I'll take it. And so it was kind of divided up based on sort of where in the game it was taking place. But now, instead, they've actually tiered every boss 1 through 49 for every boss slot in the game. And individual bosses essentially have stats set at each of those 49 tiers for how their stats work, what attacks they have, all that kind of stuff. Okay, got some decent stuff out of there. And again, to kind of put a point on it, the reason why I don't like doing the sort of like regulated, logical loot distribution is because I never would have gotten something like Excalibur out of that chest.
Yep.
With that going on. I am getting slightly annoyed that I still don't have any other jobs available to me, because Time Mage, while good, is definitely not the only thing you want to have on your team. So what I'm going to do now is, rather than going on, so normally you can kind of progress through and do some checks, do some dungeons here and there. I'm actually going to try hitting up some towns until I find another job. At least another job that's actually decent. Because while it is great that I have, like, Excalibur, it'd be much nicer to have Excalibur on, like, you know, an actual knight or some other sort of actual physical class, rather than trying to force a time mage to swing a sword around.
That's true. No, I changed it.
Summon 4, unfortunately. I think it actually does let me summon Odin, but isn't the top one, so I'm not going to bother with it. Just to see. So another thing that career date has that's interesting is they actually do progressive drops. So a given chest will have, if it has an ability in it, it will have, say, like it would be white magic.
Yeah.
It would just have white magic there as the ability, and basically it would give you whatever the next level of white magic you have it. So if you find 3 chests with white magic, the first one will give you white 1, then white 2, then white 3,
okay.
so on and so forth. I'm going to pick up Venom and Ice 3 just in the off chance I get some decent black casting ability, because those are both really good. Flame Rings are amazing, but I can't afford them right now. I actually am going to go ahead and pick up some of these status cure items, just to have them, because even though at the moment I have 2 party members that are immune to status effects due to ribbons, it's still nice to have those for A, the other party members, and B, stupid shit.
You want to buy Getting Old?
That is actually a very good time magic spell. So what Old does is effectively halve the level of anything inflicted with it,
Okay.
which will change damage, the damage they deal, their resistances, all kinds of stuff. It is actually one of the better spells to have, and also in combination with some of the blue magic level specific stuff, like level 4, like level 3, was it level 4 death, level 5 flare, and so on, can lead to doing some silly shit to certain bosses. Oh, hooray, I got the ability to steal, which is not terrible. There are some things I can do with that, like we had Mix available, or Combine available to get previously. With Steal, I can get an infinite supply of Dark Matters to use with Combine, which is part of 2 of the stupidest Combine combinations in this game.
Got better at the piano.
So one thing that amuses me about that, we can't really hear it here because we've got the volume turned down, so it doesn't pick up on the mic. But oh wow, the Yoichibo. So that's the Yoichibo. There is another one of the things that is normally in the sealed castle. Yeah, we can make his hat. But the piano, as you get better at the piano, the song you play actually gradually changes and gets slowly better and better.
Huh.
Oh, hey, look, the Holy Lance and the Avis Kill Bow, 2 other top-tier weapons. We can't afford right now, but that's okay. We're also going to go ahead and sell that knife.
Sell the 4 regular rods.
Yeah. Everybody's using other stuff now. I'm going to sell the Thornlet because I don't feel like wearing cursed gear. Oh boy! Well, with the addition of Comet there, most of this game is basically solved.
We still don't have a second class.
I mean, Comet is not... Well, we can pick up... Oh. want to get to 20,000 now. So Freelancer is the default starting class in Final Fantasy V, and is also one of the best classes in the game. It can use basically every piece of equipment in the game. It has 2 settable ability slots rather than just 1. And the secret benefit of Freelancer that the game doesn't actually tell you about is anytime you master any other job, the stat bonus for the highest stat, like the stat growth for that job, gets applied to Freelancer as well.
Nice.
So as you master other jobs, Freelancer becomes better and better. Ooh, Doomax. It's nice. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of top-tier weapons available in shops, which is nice, although I don't have the money to afford them just at the moment. So, just so we're clear, the likelihood of me doing the full run of this today is pretty low. Usually these take me 4 to 5 hours, thereabouts.
Yeah, and this is kind of a mini thing to
show off the randomizer, kind of show the stuff that happens, and so on and so forth. Red Mage is a trap class. It seems like it's really good, but it's actually terrible.
because it can only use like the lower versions of all the magic and just isn't powerful.
So it can use everything but the highest level of spells for both white and black, but its actual magic stat is not great. And honestly, at a certain point, you want the highest levels of white and black magic for Holy and Flare. You are pretty much crippling yourself without them. Literally, the only thing you use Red Mage for is to max it out in order to get X magic. Where to go? Yeah, turtle shell, staff. Oh wait, I think one of the boxes back there. Oh boy, the equipped rods ability.
Hooray! Now all of our time mages can use rod. Wait a second.
Now the real reason you actually go into Walt's Castle. The incredibly dangerous basement, which isn't dangerous at all with random encounters turned off.
Yep. The basement of delights.
So normally, if you come down into this basement, there is an enemy down here called the Jackanapes. There are two different enemies in this game called Jackanapes. The ones down here will just murder you in single hits, and are virtually impossible to actually run from. But with random encounters turned off, it's basically free loot. The reason you go down there normally in a normal game is because the Elf Cape is down there, which is one of the best accessories in the game, because it gives you basically a 50% dodge chance on every physical attack. Alright, so we've got some extra gear here. We're doing pretty well. I am going to... Oh, a little too close. Come back out of Torna Canal. I'm going to save here, and we're going to go try for whatever is in place of Carl and the ship graveyard. I have decent levels and pretty good gear. I should be able to do this. I'm going to pop in real quick to check people's equipment and make sure they're equipped to the best of what we have available. Yeah, you probably need that more than anybody else. Alright.
Well, I mean, he's got the mythic sword Excalibur. As long as he never takes the sheath off, he's fine. Now, if we only got Excalibur, that's a problem.
Oh boy.
Ooh. Drugs. Oh, he's dead. And he did.
So like I said,
This... Oh, no!
that's fine. We can take out one person's single target spell. Whatever.
Shadow of the Comet. Mr.
Yeah, so
Potter.
we got Comet. Most of the early game is solved. This isn't even the most powerful time magic spell. We did not, in fact, get Meteor, just Comet.
Okay.
Hey, that was a tablet. So tablets are very important. The Void, the final area of the game, is locked behind having all 4 tablets. That's not a normal thing, although technically you can't normally get there in the normal game anyways without all 4 tablets. But in this one, it's very specific. The whole point of Career Day is find the 4 tablets, go to the Void. Or if you really want to cause pain for yourself, find the 4 tablets, go jump on one of the teleporters in order to face the optional bosses that they've added for Career Day. Which is another thing they added with Career Day. But the tablets are kind of the whole point of the Career Day Randomizer, is find all 4 tablets. These will let you go into the Void and face off against X-Death. Now, the other thing that the tablets do is allow you to go to the sealed castle and get stuff from the sealed castle. Which, in the normal game, are the 12 legendary weapons. You get 3 of them for each tablet you have. In Career Day, they're something. They are randomized just like everything else in the
12
game.
sealed random things, possibly junk we found in our pockets.
Now, the thing about that is one of the things that is a heavy reason why you do definitely want to use the correct translation patch when making a seed for this. If you are using the correct translation patch, the game will actually tell you what's in the sealed item locations if you take a look at them. If you're using any of the other translation patches, it will tell you what's normally there, and you have no idea what's in there. Ooh, Ice Brand is probably better to use than the Mithril Sword. Yeah. You know, but Ferris will almost certainly... Oh no, she's got the Lilith Rod, that's right. I forgot we got the Lilith Rod. But yeah, we'll go to the sealed castle in a little bit once I'm done with Ship Graveyard, just since we have the actual tablet now. It's worth it for me to go take a look and see what's in there. So there's a lot of rest stops in Shift Graveyard. There's one at the very beginning on the ship you crashed on. You come here to rest, to restore stuff as well. So, it is what it is. I'm trying to keep with the spirit of things and only use save points, although this is an emulator, so I could easily save states if I felt like it.
I don't know, I think this game respects your time enough with the Career Day mod that just saving when you have the natural ability to in-game is enough for most things.
There's honestly just a couple boss points that are a little bit annoying. Another Thornlit. Fuck off with the Cursed Equipment game. I mean, thanks for the 10,000 gil, I guess.
Yeah, it's 10,000.
Jesus.
Considering all the nice stuff we want to buy is like 20,000, like Freelancer.
Fine, I'll pick up the world map. So that world map will follow you through the normal Final Fantasy V game. If you don't pick it up here, it shows up in like 2 or 3 more places until it finally just forces its way into your inventory.
It's a cursed map.
Right, nothing up here. Sorry, I am a little distracted because it's kind of hard to remember everything to do while also streaming. So there might be times where I follow paths or go places that are just kind of like, what? Oh, well, wait, no, I didn't mean to go there. The only double height sprite in the game.
Siren is huge. Siren is a giant. Siren is in fact 4 people in a trench coat. Apparently. At least in this iteration of reality. Hence why we said that the game was solved with Comet.
I mean, it's even more solved if I get top level black magic because I also have flare.
Bam.
The first boss fight where everybody lives.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let her live through this one. Huzzah!
What's notable is that's really funny because usually it's Ferris that dies. Okay, so that is actually a very special instance there. It said got Golem. But what it actually means is it got the Golem item, which we can use to add Golem to our summons list, but we're not going to do that.
Right, for the reasons we've already described.
Okay, so now one of the other things that was added in Career Day. This Warp Shard, which takes you to this Warp Zone. This is to World 1, World 2, World 3. The thing about that is there's a way you can actually lock the game to be locked behind certain key items, granting you access to the different worlds. I chose not to do that. It is a fun way to play. It gives you a little bit more structure, a little bit more guidance, but you also do kind of need to know where you can go to and what you can get to within each world. But for the purposes of showcasing, I felt like just doing it here and doing the thing. Okay, so this is the sealed castle. This is normally where all the 12 legendary weapons are. What you do now is when you come up here, you can see it'll tell you what's actually there. So it's like a shuriken. That's useless. So this is actually what I was talking about the progressive thing. So if you don't have any of those, you get Remora. If you have Remora, you get Shoat. If you have Remora and Shoat, you get Leviathan.
Okay.
We don't have any of those, and Remora is terrible, so... And we're also trying to keep our... So usually what I do is I check what's in all of them before I grab any of them. Because again, each tablet only technically grants you access to 3 of these. So I want to make sure... Okay, so that's... text there is a little bit of a weird thing. What that is there are certain classes that give you HP plus 10%, plus 20%, plus 30%. That is whatever the next in that chain is. So if you already have HP plus 10%, you'll get plus 20, etc., etc. That is the Assassin Dagger, which is decent. What did we want? What was this one? This one was Beastmaster.
Magic Sword was one of the things that's available, and we do have a bunch of
Yes,
magic
but that's going to be
swords.
Magic Sword level 1.
Yeah.
Because it's the first progressive. What is usually better to do is see if I can get Magic Sword through a shop.
And then come back here when you've got higher levels, because it'll give you the next tier.
Basically.
Free. Okay.
So we're actually going to take this Diamond Shield, because if I get a shield using class, that's actually really good. We're going to take the Assassin Dagger, because that's actually one of the 12 legendary weapons. The Assassin Dagger is... right there. That's what it actually is. And then, no, we're not going to take the Remora Shoat Leviathan. We're not taking a Shuriken. No.
I take it Mediator's not a job class worth taking?
Beastmaster is alright. It's not one I'm particularly looking for right now.
Oh, it's Beastmaster?
Yeah, it's
okay.
called Mediator in this. That's technically a more accurate translation. We'll take the silver armor. That's a decent accessory. And we are currently lacking for good accessories. So after you grab 3, even if you have multiple tablets, every time you grab 3, you have to come back over here. It'll shadow the tablet, and you have to place the next one. It's a little annoying, but it happens. Also, to keep you from breaking the game, you can't actually warp shard out of that room. They were actually quite smart about a bunch of stuff they programmed in to make sure you don't shatter the game accidentally. Okay, so that having been done. By the way, you can actually make it here in either World 2 or World 3. It's just easier to do in World 3 because you literally start right here when you spawn in for the Warp Shard. Now we're going to go back to World 1. So in general, unless you are prevented from doing so, you usually kind of want to try and go through in regular boss order. Unless you happen to hit something that's just ridiculous. Like if I, for instance, try and go up Mount Hiryu over here and run into, like, I don't know, say, Necrophobe, I'm fucking changing gears and going somewhere else. But generally you want to try and kind of follow normal boss progression order because that'll keep it simple for you. Although, again, you do try and make some checks, you know, some free checks in towns and stuff like that as they come. Like, for instance, I'm actually going to come... no, I'm not going to do library yet. I'm going to wait and see if I can happen to find the Ifrit's Fire. So that's the other thing they did is, in order to make it somewhat more feasible to get through certain parts of the game that are normally locked behind specific story events, they created key items that sort of emulate those events, as it were. So, for instance, normally to progress through the entirety of the library, you have to have a Ifrit, because you get to a point where there's like a bookshelf that blocks your way and is kind of joking about it and being a dick. And if once you get a Ifrit, you basically go back there, and Ifrit's like, "You want to fuck around?" And the bookshelf's like, "Oh shit, please don't burn me, Lord Ifrit." To mitigate this to the fact where you might not normally get Ifrit in this, instead they created a key item called Ifrit's Fire, which once you have Ifrit's Fire, you can just sort of go through there and it has the same effect. Sell that Dragoon Spear because I don't care. Sell that Thornlet. I'm going to keep the Ice Rod to snap on something. Unfortunately, it won't let you sell gold.
Yeah, you want to be a summoner? What?
We're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of these leather clothes. At this point, mostly I'm just doing this just to clean up my inventory, not because I actually need the money.
Yep.
We're going to toss the power drink. Toss that staff. Okay, and we're going to buy Freelancer. And with that having been done, we are going to go ahead and... No, not Ferris. But you're going to pop over to being a Freelancer. And as a Freelancer, we're going to equip you with... What are we going to give you? We're going to give you Capture. Oh, never mind. Capture is what they call the thief ability in this one. So part of the problem is that there's multiple different translations of this game, and they all call different abilities different things. Give you animals, because animals can do some weird shit. And... yeah, we'll keep you with dimensional magic for now. So now Butts is incredibly powerful.
Yes.
And for now, I think we're going to keep our party composition like that. So we have 3 comets at our beck and call. Because unfortunately, Butts did not level up quite high enough to be able to have enough time magic to cast Comet just off of the ability. But that's fine. So next in normal progression is up here, the North Mountain. You'll notice that's kind of common as well. There's going to be a lot of chests that you find that are just large amounts of money. God, I hope we find blue mage or blue magic of some sort at some point here. Because blue breaks the game. Other quality of life features that Career Day and Project Demi add. You inherently have the blue mage's training ability.
So even if you're not playing as a blue mage or have the training ability equipped, you can still learn all the blue magic.
Yep.
By getting hit
Yeah, so if you get hit by Goblin Punch, you've learned Goblin Punch. Now, in Career Day, you might not have the ability to cast a Goblin Punch if you don't have a blue mage or blue magic.
Yeah.
Also notable, in case people were wondering, there's an option to randomize the color palettes for classes, which I did turn on, although sometimes, like with Galef and Time Mage here, it ended up normal. But that's why like Butts is like blonde with like blue clothes and stuff for Freelancer. Let's get Lena poisoned. So some state-based effects exist no matter what.
Carl, you're late! We had to fight a flower in your place. That's okay, Carl. We can give you the same treatment.
Bye, Carl.
Bye, Carl! See you next run.
But yeah, so you'll end up with weird randomized palettes on people.
I actually kind of like the black look on Lena.
You got Dance and the Dancing Dagger. All right.
This is a very festive mountain.
Let's go unpoison Lena. Time 1 that Lena gets poisoned automatically with no way to avoid
This
it.
game loves poisoning her.
Also, just to show it off, you can totally come up here. There's no reason to. You don't actually need to. You get the item from that fight that you would normally get from otherwise doing it. And because I'm lazy, we're going to warp shard out of here rather than walking all the way back down the mountain.
You give a fast travel system, we're going to use it.
So normally, next in the line would be the Waltz Tower, but in this you do actually need to get the key item Waltz Tower key in order to go do Waltz Tower. We are going to check real quick and see what's in the normal Shiva spot, because that is something we can get to right now, but can sometimes have some ridiculous shit, because technically you're not supposed to do that until after you've gone to the library, sort of. The timing on Shiva is weird, because it's actually technically totally optional. There is nothing in the game which actually requires you to come get Shiva. And honestly, you only know this even exists because there's like one person in Waltz Castle that talks about the secret in the waterfall. And I have a really bad history with this particular fight in Career Day. Every time I come here, it's always like fucking Carbuncle or fucking Necrophobe or Atmos. It's fine.
Open up your pie hole. Let the meteors in.
It's comets.
Let the celestial
Yeah,
objects.
so as you can see, Bartz does not have the ability to cast Comet. He doesn't have quite enough high enough level time magic to do that. So instead, he's just going to haste the people that can cast Comet.
Also, the first thing we fought that's taken more than one comet to the face.
Oh yeah, no, Atmos will take quite a few. Comet will drop off in effectiveness slowly as we get towards the later World 1 stuff. If we find Meteor, we're set, or again, any ability to cast high-level black magic, because we do... Basically, if we find Black 6, we're set, because I already have Flare. I will not pick up Flare, basically. Even though I don't have the ability to cast it at the exact moment, it's still worth investing in. We fought Atmos for a high potion and a bracelet. Bracelet is a key item that is very important for unlocking a significant portion of World 2. without the bracelet, I would say 3 or 4 checks, boss checks in World 2 are not doable.
Just like it won't let you do them, or they're prohibited?
They're locked off.
Okay.
The bracelet is just a key item that locks off certain accesses.
Yeah, okay.
Again, one of the things about the way they've designed Career Day is most of the lock-offs they have are not for, like, punitive reasons. They are literally to keep the game from breaking. And every once in a while, they do find something really funny. Just because of the nature of the randomizer that they eventually will fix.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, there's a job in this game called Mime. You normally cannot get the Mime job until World 3.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you get to the World 3, Galef has died. Galef doesn't have Mime sprites in this game. But with Career Day, it was absolutely possible to have Galef as a Mime. Mm-hmm. At which point he would be completely invisible. He would have no sprite appear in the game. They did fix this by having somebody make a custom Galef Mime sprite sheet and put it into the game. But this was totally a thing. It was something they had to deal with. Alright, so next up we're going to go head to the library, which would technically be the next place we go to after Waltz Tower, which we can't do because we don't have the Waltz key. Library, we may not be able to do the whole length of, though, because we do need Ifrit's Fire to actually... Well, okay, so technically it's the whole thing. We do the Fire Ship and all that, but Fire Ship is also locked behind some items that we don't have yet. So the next one we actually have access to that we can get to is the library. And the library is also good and notable for being another spot that has a healing jug right here. So in the normal game, if you are grinding, the library is not a bad place to do it in. Because you can fight monsters, come on back, drink some healing water, go back in, fight monsters. Once you run low on supplies, come back, drink healing water, etc. Spent some MP. Let's go refresh before delving into the library. So the library, for those of you not familiar with FF5, is kind of a maze of sorts. Basically, these bookcases shift back and forth. There's little triggers you have to hit in order to make them go places. Don't remember if... Okay, that can be worn by time mages, but I don't know if I want to. Now, this, on the other hand... Nah, we're fine. That's the weird thing that comes up when you're doing randomizer runs like this, is you just end up with, like, stuff where you're just like, huh, is it better to use this or this that normally wouldn't really be a factor in a normal game? You know what? We're going to go ahead and do a save state here just because I don't want to walk all the way back out of the library. But this could be, yeah, like Carbuncle. Fortunately, Reflect doesn't work on Comet. Notably, Ferris's comet does insane amounts of damage because of the Lilith Rod.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to animals.
Okay, Carbuncle's dead.
Okay, things have restored to normality. Ferris is dead. For some reason, Ferris tends to be the one that gets punked, like, all the time. Ah, the pyramid page. So the pyramid is an entirely optional dungeon. There is basically no actual reason to do the pyramid. There's, like, 2 checks in there. So normally, again, based on laziness, I would totally just warp shard out of here. But because there is... alright, gotta go... here? No. Where's the... I don't remember where the damn trigger is. There it is. But because there is healing water at the start of this dungeon, I'll just walk back normally. Go use that healing water to make Ferris not be dead again so she can die in time for the next boss. But anyways, the pyramid has a couple checks in it, but there's nothing really particularly stellar. One of the things that's been discussed a few times in the actual Discord for a career day is, like, how do we make the pyramid relevant? How do we make it worth actually going to the pyramid? And thus far, nobody's really been able to come up with an answer. But we'll see what happens. Alright. So next in line... start doing some meteors. See what we end up with here. So another quality of life improvement that Career Day makes. Inherent run speed. Move speed is faster by default, and you also have the Thief's double speed ability.
Nice.
Hold down B to run.
I have noticed that you also just get the ability to see...
I mean, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't have the really funny way to beat this guy.
Which is?
So this is... for some reason here they call him Apocalypse. I'm not really sure why. This is Azalmagia. He is the embodiment of blue magic.
Okay.
Thing is, if you cast blue magic at him, he will repeat whatever blue magic you cast. This includes self-destruct.
Two can play the exploding game. Oh, wait!
Yeah, so basically you essentially sacrifice 2 people in order to just have him kill himself. Because you have somebody cast self-destruct on him, which kills them. Then he will cast self-destruct back, which will kill one other person. And then he's just dead.
Haha, I've exploded, making me the victor. Oh, wait.
I mean, in this instance, we had Comet, so that was solved anyways, but... But yeah, Azalmagia is one of the funniest fights in the game, just because of that. Part of what I love about Final Fantasy V, part of the reason why it's one of my favorite JRPGs in existence, is just because there is so much stupid little stuff like that. And, like, that's the thing. That's not a glitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, like, something they didn't intend. That was totally on purpose that you could do that with
Yeah.
it. Like, boss fights in Final Fantasy V, for the most part, are honestly more puzzle games than they are actual regular JRPG boss fights. Like, you totally can just power through every boss fight in the game. You can power level, you can be, over-leveled for where the boss fight is, and just kind of slog through it. But there are so many clever little solutions that make you not have to do it. Alright, save before I do this. things like using Mute Sword on Omniscient or self-destructing an Aslomagia. Other things like completely unexpected status effect weaknesses that bosses would have.
Yeah.
Which let you do kind of weird, cool things. Oh, hi, Wing Raptor. So Wing Raptor here is normally the first boss of the game. This is what you face in the Wind Shrine. Now, obviously, he's statted up a bit because he's at a much later spot, but still probably 2 comments, I'm saying. Yeah.
2 comments.
And that was a tablet. I mean, there's nothing we particularly care about left in the sealed castle, frankly, but... so notably... I thought I was supposed to need all 4 to do this.
Is this the optional boss?
I believe so. Okay. I can go there, he just won't actually fight me until I have all 4 tablets. So that's one of the things they've added, again, with Career Day, is optional bosses that are completely new creations that they've added into the game to add a little bit more challenge to those of us that have sort of beat the game a million times and know every trick in the book to defeat X-Death. So that is an optional boss you can go to by having all 4 tablets and stepping on any one of the Comet teleporters. You will be sent to that section, at which point, with 4 tablets, you will talk to them, and they will fight you. At present, there's only one optional boss called Somber Mage, which has been made, and is a really interesting and fun fight. The plan is to make a few more. No real specific number at this time as to how many they plan to make. But basically, whatever they can come up with an idea for and make interesting bosses out of. I'm just going to kind of fly around a little bit while the chat head to the forest here. But yeah, so those are sort of optional super bosses. I don't think the intention is in any way to make them any more, say, necessarily difficult than, like, Neo X-Death, the normal final boss. But the idea is that they're different, and you don't have the, you can't use the same tricks and the same old tired strategies and all that. They all have their own strategies, and again, are very much designed in the same idea as most Final Fantasy V bosses, in that there is sort of a puzzle element to them. There are ways to beat them, and tricks to beating them easier, but you can technically just face slam into them if you really want to. It's just not going to be easy. A regen. And a piano to play. So yeah, at this point, still basically just kind of picking up regular checks, seeing what I've got, what I can get access to, that kind of stuff. Hitting bosses as I feel like I can. I already have Bolt Sword, alright. Phoenix, kind of maybe, but we'll see what else is available first.
Yeah.
Like, Phoenix is another decently worthwhile summon to have, even for something like Call, because it actually does a fair amount of damage, although obviously the real proper usage of Phoenix is, well, we're getting that, definitely. So in case I run into Omniscient somewhere, he's solved now.
Yep.
Phoenix is a decent summon to have, just because the primary use of it is restoring dead characters. Speaking of which, the first place we've actually found Phoenix Downs. Buy like 10 of them. And a handful of cabins. But it does decent damage, so even if nobody's down, it's still worth it if you manage to hit it with Call or have the ability to summon it. Not quite as good as Odin, because again, Odin... Okay, you're getting that. So the Healing Staff,
heals things when you whack it, but you can whack your own party
Yeah, it basically just is a free cure too.
Yep. You want to buy a golem? No thanks, we got golems.
We're going to go ahead and put that on Lena, actually. Just because I typically use Lena as my healer, so that way I won't make stupid mistakes and forget who has the healing staff and end up healing enemies.
Yep.
Certainly never had that happen all the fucking time.
Oh, that happens to everybody who equips the healing staff at some point.
What's also always been funny to me is that notably the healing staff, despite being an incredibly useful item, when it's actually available in a shop, only sells for 900 gold.
Yep.
Like, that's the thing. They didn't actually change the pricing on almost anything in this game. So, the store prices you see for stuff are what they are. It's just there's a lot of stuff in this game that is never actually available in the shop, so you never see what the buy prices on them are. And they're priced in such a way, basically, to make it so you're not stupid and sell really good things. And actually, that being said, I just realized, since he doesn't really do a whole lot great with Dimension Magic,
Yeah,
give him
do
Magic
Sword.
Sword instead. So that I can load my Excalibur with, Fire 2 now. Just to be silly. So if I really wanted to, I could mess around down here and do all kinds of stuff. There's no more actual checks available to me out of here. The primary usage of this whole area is getting into Odin's room in World 3. Which is another thing they actually fixed with the most recent version of Career Day. Because since that is a place that exists in multiple worlds, it used to have some weird issues when you would try to kind of go through those. And could end up really busting stuff. And ending you up in, the wrong worlds. So now you can't actually go back out of Odin's room into those caves. And we're going to go see what's in place of Crayclaw. So this fucking switch. This switch here.
Uh-huh.
Foils so many people. There is a lever. Push it. Yes or no?
No.
Correct. There is a lever. Pull it. Yes.
Oh.
This game's an asshole. Oh, hey, we got Hunter. Nice.
How cute.
I am actually... No, you know what? Comics do power. Actually... Yeah, we'll go ahead and... Wowza. That sure is a color scheme.
I've got a big gold red beard. I've got a big gold red
And we're
beard.
going to put Time Magic on you.
He looks like a character from, H.R. Puff and stuff or something. Or, one of those, stage kid shows.
And I believe...
I'm going to teach you about Descabluterplop or something. One of those weird German ones.
Yeah, that lever is a mean trick. Also, notably, you may have noticed there that when they went to bed there, that sprite is not Galef.
Yes, because they don't have a sprite for...
I mean, they totally have a sprite for Galef sleeping. It just
Yes, they didn't
should
program it in
never
here.
should never actually be here. which is an interesting thing from a actual like programming standpoint, because what that means is that those animations don't actually pull from your sprite list. They are actually specific to each individual sleeping area. All right. Yeah, this whole underneath area is kind of a complete and utter dick move, because like there's actually a screenshot posted on the wiki for Career Day because of this.
Okay.
People aren't sure where the fuck to go from here. They think they're locked.
Okay.
So they'll be like, look, come up here and do this. Which, by the way, works in the GBA version of the game. It doesn't actually work in the SNES version.
There's stairs right there, yeah.
Yes. People don't see those stairs.
Well, yeah, because they're covered up by a like transparency of some kind. And...
Like, this is normally where you get the airship. And fight Crayclaw. In this particular instance, is Greg!
Hey, Greg!
Okay, it's that Greg. Actually, yeah, Venom should be good. I left the stove on! Hey, we got the Moogle suit. Let's see. I don't think we really have many other checks left in World 1, all told. Go drink some healing water real quick, and then we're going to go do the Desert Meteor, and I think that's all we've got left that I can do in World 1 at this point. If I'm remembering correctly, because I can't do walls because I don't have the key. I can't do Fire Ship because I don't have the key. Well, you nerds have fun. I love that you can do that, by the way. I do that every time.
What's up?
So the whole thing with that is that basically Sid and Mid go into the meteor at the ruins here, and you expect them to come out in just a minute. They're just going in to check something and they'll be right out.
Right.
And then they don't. And so Butts is like, oh, I don't know what happened to them. I'm worried about them. You can just leave. I mean, you normally have to go in here and engage in the fight, but let's see, what did we get? Hi, Soul Cannon. So Soul Cannon here is very interesting from a programming perspective. He has 10,000 more HP than he actually has.
Huh.
Oh, right. She has. I forgot that the wall ring will do that even to that
Whoops.
stuff. We'll do regular bolt sword. It's not going to be great, but it'll be somewhat more effective. And the reason he has those 10,000 HP is because he is programmed to self-destruct, basically blow himself up at 10,000 HP. Like, not with the actual blue magic self-destruct, but just like a cutscene kind of thing.
Right.
So for a while, in some earlier versions of Career Day, this caused a lot of issues because... Really? In Flex Region even? Huh. Well, whatever. There's Phoenix down there if she dies.
Yeah.
But, like, basically because there was a lot of sort of confusion to some extent over whether the... there it goes. Whether the 10,000 HP was on the actual monster itself, or if it was, like, tied to the slot. And then, like, weird things would happen in the actual Soul Cannon slot for certain monsters, and just all kinds of weird stuff, basically. So it's actually really a pretty fascinating boss from a programming perspective that had a lot of things they had to solve when making this. Alright, so let me run down the list of checks in my brain here. So, did all 4 meteors. Can't do sandworm because I don't have sandworm bait. Can't do the rest of library because I don't have a Freet's Fire. Can't do steamship the Karnak 500 yet because I don't have steamship key. Can't do Waltz Tower because I don't have Waltz key. Already did Wind Shrine. Already did North Mountain. Already did Shiva. Yeah, that's going to be it for World 1. So we're going to take a quick sippy and head on into World 2. Start doing checks there. I do have a number of key items. Oh, that reminds me. I'll actually show off something cool. So, they actually have the key items all listed here,
nice.
Including like submarine key and bracelet and other stuff that normally isn't there. Now, one of the other things that they do in the Project Demi build, I believe they do this. I haven't actually played Project Demi because I mostly just do Career Day, but I believe they added a key item in Project Demi, which specifically updates its description as you play through the game. Because part of what they do in Project Demi is they remove all the cutscenes and all that stuff to make the game play a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
The key item is there to actually remind you what you're supposed to do next to progress through the story.
Okay.
So that you don't get confused by not having access to the cutscenes. Sort these. And we're off to World 2. So World 2, we've got a number of checks we can do. This submarine is normally not here unless you have the submarine key, but having the submarine key means we have a couple checks we can do. Not many rely on just the submarine key, but there are a couple. Hardened Dagger. It's alright. I think it was up here. Yeah. Here. So, one of the other things that they added with Career Day fairly recently is a hint system.
Nice.
To help give you some guides to where certain key items might be hidden. So there are, I believe, 15, it's either 15 or 17 NPCs spread throughout the game that will give you hints kind of like that. And they have various different things. They'll sometimes say what world they're in. They'll sometimes say, oh, it's in a cave. Stuff like that. A little bit less...
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, to try and help you find stuff. Particularly if you're trying to speedrun, it can be very handy because it helps you sort of figure out that you can be like, oh, Like, now I know that Adamantite is in World 1. Now, I don't know whether I really need Adamantite for this run, but it does say to me, since I already did most of the checks in World 1, I have a general idea of, like, basically it's in one of essentially 3 places. Because I know everything I have left in World 1, which also means that it's hidden behind another key item that I have to get, because the only places left in World 1 all require me to have key items. So there are a bunch of hidden NPCs around, which is kind of a cool addition, and can sometimes make it a little bit easier. If you're having a lot of trouble finding, if you're like, just like, I don't get it, like, I've checked everywhere, I can't find X thing. It gives you a little bit of an aspect to be like, oh, I've talked to this person, and like, oh, all of a sudden, like, now I actually kind of know. Oh, hey, Bahamut.
Bahamut.
Man, if we ever get a summoner, we're fucking set. Yeah, nothing I particularly want out of there. Fucking angel rings. Genji helmet and Genji shield are both in here. If I get a bunch of money, that's pretty good pickups. Genji glove is also here, so yeah, important note. Ball Castle is a place to go. It's where all my money is going to spend.
Oh.
I don't really need it at this point. I don't have necessarily a super reliable way to get a lot of the really good mix items at the moment. So while it is still super powerful, it's not something I particularly need for this build at this precise moment. Another piano here.
Do the piano segments gradually get like better and more intricate?
And fewer missed notes and stuff.
Nice.
White magic to actually cast Cure 3, otherwise that would be a great pickup. There it is. Catch is what they call it for the actual getting monsters.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's catch and then turns into release when you have one caught. Yeah, just selling Gungnir, no big deal. Crystal armor, not bad, although I can buy Genji armor, so fucking whatever. Bard is definitely something I would like to get, seeing as I already have Heroic Rhyme. Right, another way around. Hey, Void.
We're going into the woods for a spooky adventure.
I don't think there's anything here until... Oh, no, wait. I think I have to come back in World 3 to do the thing in here.
Oh, is this where you get the chicken knife or the... the other knife that no
Brave
one takes
Blade.
because the chicken.
In Career Day, they're both actually... Ostensibly, they're both actually good, because they basically just peeked them out.
Okay.
But that's also because they can just be found randomly, so... Kind of whatever. And yeah, notably, the thing that makes the bracelet important for World 2... Find where the hell it is. The bracelet is what disables the barrier around Exdeath Castle.
Ah.
And also works in combination with a couple other things to do a couple other areas. Yeah, see there they're selling Excalibur. And also Lilith rods.
Wow.
Goodbye, Berserker. Yeah, there's some overlap in stores. That's just how the game is actually programmed. Yep. So there's some stuff that's going to be available in multiple places. And again, it's little things like this, knowing the little secrets like that, because they intentionally try to hide that staircase. Fucking cursed ring. And also that you can flip that switch from the back. This particular run is just loving foisting all the cursed shit on me. It's giving me 2 thornlets, it's giving me the cursed ring, the cursed shield is available for sale.
Do you want to buy a cursed item?
I'll go ahead and sell that hardened dagger. I'm not really going to use it for anything. Sell that mithril dagger. Sell cotton clothes. Sell bandana. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, nothing great in here, but... Step out for a minute, save, and then we'll fight the boss that's here. Or attempt to, and then inevitably it's going to be like Necrophobe, and fuck me, I guess. Okay, no, it's just,
It's just Sarge from the Karnak 5000.
well, it's, yeah, Deathclaw, but, yeah. So interestingly, I believe he gets boosted stats. I don't think the Karnaks do. Ooh, one of them gonna die.
Oh, that's right. The stats in this game are actually scaled to where you find them.
Yes. So I talked about it a little bit earlier, since you just joined us. They actually just recently redid how those are calculated. So it used to be that they were tiered based on like early World 1, mid World 1, so on and so forth. Instead, they've now actually given a tier slot to every boss slot in the game, 1 through 49, and actually set stats for each boss at each of those tiers. It allows for a little bit more even distribution. It allows for a little bit more granularity of specific power, basically, because there are some bosses that honestly are just more powerful in the old like 12 tier system than other bosses in the same slot that ostensibly are of the same tier. And it allowed them to do a special thing. There's a special option you can do now, which I have not done on this particular one, but is an interesting option they did add, wherein if a boss location is locked behind, so let's say like there's stuff in World 1 that needs key items in order to access, so like Walt's Tower. And there's a boss at the top of Walt's Tower. Well, if the Walt's Tower key is in World 3, by the time you can go and fight the boss in World 3 in order to actually get that Walt's Tower key, you're going to go back to that World 1 boss and completely punk it, because you're going to be powerful enough to be taking on World 3 bosses.
Yeah.
So with the new tiering system, what it enabled them to do is actually modify that, so now the logic is actually smart enough that it will sit there, and if a boss is locked behind a key item that's in a much later like in a later world, it actually gives them a buff of a certain number of tiers. So if it's a World 1 boss locked behind a World 2 magic item, I want to say, it's plus 10 tiers and like plus 10,000 HP. If it is a World 1 boss locked behind, or World 2 boss locked behind a World 3 key item, they give it plus 10 tiers and plus 15,000 HP. And if it's a World 1 boss locked behind a World 3 item, they give it plus 20 tiers and plus 20,000 HP. Just to kind of balance it out. Like I said, I did not activate this one on this one because it's just kind of a fun, casual, quick run. Just to fill in since Shiv is not available. But it's an interesting thing they did, and also just like further demonstrates just how insane the amount of coding and like granularity of specifics the guys. Oh, what did he say?
Yeah, that is the thing about 5. It is very, very choppable.
Yeah, but like the fact that like the guys actually the guys coding this actually like were able to do that much with the code is like honestly bonkers.
Here, have this random elf cape.
So normally he gives you Requiem. Do we want to do Mount Hear You right now? Do we want to... Yeah, we'll go check Mount Hear You. Just see what's in there. Bah. Call is getting gradually less and less useful. I mean, I don't even have call, and I might not ever find it. But at this rate, by the time I find it, I might not even want it. Like, I'll still take Summon 5 if that shows up, because I do still have Odin. But...
Odin battle!
Isn't in this one the traditional either instant death or large damage if it's a boss?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it is absolutely either Zangetsu or Gungnir.
Yeah.
And also, it's not specifically if it's a boss.
Mm.
There are plenty of bosses in this game that are susceptible to the instant kill.
Ah.
And he will actually just do it randomly. Like, basically, it is just a percentage chance that he will do either, in this they call it True Edge, or Gungnir. It does not take into calculation whether or not they are susceptible to instant death or not. It just will do it. And if he tries to use it and they're not susceptible to instant death, shrug. Oh well. That's the chance you take.
Yeah.
It is still well worth doing, though, because, as I said, a surprisingly large number of things in this game are susceptible to instant death that you would not think would be. Especially in Randomizer, it's particularly useful because a lot of early bosses, they didn't give immunity to instant death because you run into them before you could actually have instant death in the game.
Yeah.
So they never bothered. So in this, if you run into one in a much later slot and happen to have, Doom or Odin or whatever, you just get to pump them. Alright, let's see what's in place of Here You Plant, who was on vacation taking over for Carl. Hi, Magisa!
Bye, Magisa.
Well,
Go
she
on,
grabbed
bitch.
one.
Call your husband. See what happens.
I don't know if she's going to get the chance to.
She probably will. I mean, this is a later game boss, so she has a decently high boost. Also, notably, the Magisa fight. Lena's poisoned again.
Yep. Doesn't she get like a poison dagger to the shoulder or something? In the
She gets shot with an arrow. It's just funny because Lena ends up poisoned both in the spot this fight normally takes place in and wherever you happen to run into Magisa.
Magisa.
Aw, she got to call him. This is actually not great because he's going to be pretty fucking powerful at this point.
And you didn't mute him.
I mean, I did. But he doesn't cast anything, so it doesn't matter. That's Magic Sword. It is a 100% chance to put statuses on if you have the status effect.
Ah, okay.
If they are not wholly immune to the status effect, they will get that status effect if hit with a Magic Sword of it. The specific reason I picked up Mute Magic Sword is because when I inevitably run into Omniscient...
That way he doesn't rewind the battle.
Yes. I mean, most fights in this game at this point come down to me hurling an endless succession of comments at things. And butts hitting them with Excalibur.
Yep. You're very Chad Butts.
Yes. Randomized pallets, it happens.
Yeah.
Hey, the big bridge key. Go take a quick sippy, then we'll tackle the big bridge, I guess.
Are random encounters turned off?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a default in Career Day. You can turn them on if you want. It's just in the config menu. I usually don't bother because generally I play with Reward Multiplier X4, so the experience off of bosses is enough to keep me on level curve.
Yeah. Honestly, that just makes the game better, kind of.
Particularly because really random encounters for the most part are just a resource sink.
Yeah.
Especially in certain areas where they're honestly more annoying than anything else. Like, they're not actually hard fights, they're just stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can instead just...
All rise for the national anthem.
It's just Battle on the Bay Bridge.
Yeah, it's the best Final Fantasy song that's ever been made.
I mean, you're not wrong, but...
Guess what doesn't reflect, bitch?
I hit you with a space rock.
This is notably also how I dealt with Carbuncle.
What the hell is Animals?
Animals is the default ability for Hunter / Ranger, depending upon which version you're playing. It is a semi-randomized effect based on effectively a die roll, somewhat modified by level and stat stuff. This is the best result from it.
Party heal.
Yes. A party heal roughly at Cure 2 levels for no MP cost. But it is somewhat uncontrollable, so... Notably, this fight is also really funny if you have somebody who happens to have like a wall ring or reflect, because she will focus mostly on throwing buffs at that person to reflect onto her long before she actually starts attacking the party. So you can pound her down pretty hard before that. I mean, she does have a shell up, so unfortunately my comments are not doing a ton of damage. But that's okay. Bees!
Bees, my god.
Yes, so the remainder of this fight will basically be Comet slamming into her and whatever animal's butts happens to summon.
Hamsters.
Since I won't be hitting her physically anymore, since I don't want to draw out any more drains. Also because Nightingale is super useful, because it's also the only way I can actually heal Lena at the moment, since she has Reflect on.
Yeah.
It's that or items. There we go. You were significantly less useful than Greg. Contemplate on that in the afterlife, bitch.
The Final Fantasy IV Fiend's death thing. Where they take forever to kill the mob.
Yeah. Hey, another tablet that I don't really care about, because there's still nothing of really any significant value down in the sealed castle.
Hey, you found the ancient sealed off garbage dump.
I mean, I suppose I could go get Remora if I hated myself.
You got some fish, you got a shuriken.
Right, back down the bridge to go get our airship back.
Big bridge.
not using the warp crystal as a shortcut?
I mean, in this instance, it's not like super different, honestly. Also because I'm already kind of over by where I want to be, rather than back over here where the start is for this world. Although now that I've gone over and displayed that, I'm kind of back off again. What else do I want to do? Actually, we will go back over to start and get our submarine and start doing some of those checks.
Right, there's a submarine in this game.
Yes. And I happen to have the submarine key. Although I don't have any of the other underwater unlock stuff, so there's a limit to what stuff I can actually do with the submarine.
Seems to be sail in the water.
Pop in here real quick to restore all that MP I just threw at Califasteri.
Via comet and comet, then more comet, and more
Yep.
comet.
Look, when you have a hammer, every problem looks like every problem looks like a nail.
Every problem looks like a dinosaur.
No, this is comet, not meteor. It's a cable cat, not a toy.
Yeah, I've improved that to her. Indeed. You're okay.
Okay, let's see. Venom Rod, not bad. Monster in a box.
You're okay.
You're gonna get your face a lot.
I don't know, she's purring.
Cats also purr when they're anxious.
Indeed. Alright. There you go.
This fight is wholly unnecessary. It's just fun.
I got you leather clothes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I really, truly don't need that. Like, I'm already technically approaching end game levels for a normal run anyways.
Like actual character levels or just gear?
Character levels. Gear wise, I've been there from I got a fucking Excalibur in like the first dungeon.
Yeah.
But no, like in a decent run of this, you can usually pull it off if you know sort of the tricks and how the game really plays and all of that. You can win this at low to mid 30s. ones that has a...
We give you this small circle where you can actually see in.
Yep.
I mean, granted, it's just basically a Super Nintendo game trying to compensate for the fact that they put stuff in your way visually.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, it's actually a cool effect.
Yeah.
The way they achieve it. It allows the parallax scrolling on the outer
Yeah.
sort of structure there, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. Taking advantage of that one thing that the Super Nintendo did pretty well.
Yep.
Mode 7 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Mode 7 was more about 3D than anything else, but did have an impact on parallax scrolling.
Yeah.
Another monster in a box.
Ah, it's Trails in the Sky all over again. By over again, I mean like, I don't know, a decade or two before.
Yeah. Okay.
Not worth it.
Well, no, it didn't reset the chest to closed after that, so I was just like, did I just actually miss out on that? But no, it's just like I'll do that fight, I just don't want to do from a back attack. That's actually like awful.
Yeah, I can see that.
Then I basically have to spend a full set of turns getting everybody into the correct rows. And actually,
Just dropping save state to...
yeah, I'm trying to avoid
Yeah.
save stating just to kind of stay with the spirit of things, but
I mean, if the random encounter is turned off, all it does is really save you a mild amount of time.
yeah, basically. There we go.
Yeah. These things have quite the hit points.
Oh yeah. No,
Squirrel!
no, the monster in a box dragons are quite dangerous in this tower. These are actually the less dangerous of the two. The red dragon is significantly more dangerous because atomic ray is stupid busted.
What's that?
Yes, by virtue of using animals, Butts is our de facto healer at the moment.
Well, you know.
Yes, so you see, Thunder, their all-party attack does like 1 to 200 damage. Conversely, the red dragons have atomic ray, which does 5 to 600 damage.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
fine. We got this. I mean, whatever's in that chest isn't going to be worth it. But
Oh, probably not.
at this point, I've got a point to prove. It's the goddamn principle of the matter.
What's up?
There you go.
Are you hungry?
I'm going to guess this is a potion.
Corn jar.
Whatever that is.
It is an accessory that increases your chance of using the catch ability.
Right?
I mean, catch is really powerful and is, in fact, one of the avenues to breaking the game via hurling bears at things. But it is not anything worth dealing with a couple yellow dragons on.
I like Hera.
Alright, let's see what took the place of Atomos, since he was... What was that? He was in place of Shiva, I think?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
in place of Shiva.
Mega Shiva.
Right!
Oh no, it's a catastrophe.
Hey, that's catastrophe. You do not have enough letters to actually spell catastrophe.
I just have to desperately hope that him being here has tiered him down enough that he's not fucking terrible.
Well, his melee attack isn't unreasonable.
His melee attack isn't the problem. That, he fortunately keeps targeting at one of the two people that has a ribbon on. Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, two people have a ribbon at least, so... Okay. What does that do?
It's one turn, like, slow effect.
Oh, okay.
It does pretty much exactly what it says. It distracts them. There are very few things in this game which Momonga actually works on.
Healy stick.
Yep. Will eventually die.
Yeah, this is a bucket of hit points. Good thing Common is cheap.
Yes, Comet is very cheap. Look, a flying squirrel. There we go.
Yeah. Long death sequence. Got equipped bows.
And a fruit's fire.
Yep.
Now I can go back and complete the library in World 1. Which I'll probably do, and then that'll be the last thing we run through
Alright.
for this stream. Because it's been just over 2 hours now. This was, again, mostly just as kind of a fill-in. Hopefully next week our scheduling will work out alright, so we'll be able to finish off Super Robot Wars T with the final climactic showdown. But yeah, we'll go here and just kind of show how silly it can be. So this is why they actually instituted the whole, you know, checkbox where it's like, oh, well, we can give a buff to bosses in places that, you know, that are locked behind later ones, because, like, I just dealt with Catastrophe, albeit in a much earlier slot than he's normally in, but that's basically an end-game boss that was in a mid-game boss slot.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going back to, like, the fourth boss of the game. So whatever I'm about to face that was in Biblos' spot is going to not have a good time of it. Unless it's one of a particular handful of particularly annoying bosses that are a pain in the ass no matter what slot they're in. That's just the peek out. Dark matter. So everybody says, Greg! And based on where he's standing, this is going to be Enkidu Greg.
Take a look, it's in the book. A Gilgamesh fight, Gilgamesh fight, Gilgamesh fight.
Now the real question is, can I manage to pound him down before he even calls in Enkidu? No.
No.
Oh, no, I totally did. They actually have text for you doing this. So yeah, as you can see, that was a ridiculous joke of a fight because I was powerful enough to deal with stuff way stronger than that. So that's why they did add that checkbox as an option for the game. Anyways, I want to thank you again for joining us on another Sunday afternoon stream. We will be back next Sunday to finish off Super Robot Wars T. We'll be here hopefully on Tuesday doing some more Fire Emblem Three Houses. Next Saturday, we will not be doing our normal Trails in the Sky stream because friend of the show and fellow member of Sound Goblin HP Braincase is going to be doing his 12-hour marathon stream over on his channel, HP Braincase, next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific. So that's where we'll be at. We'll be helping him out with that. Yeah, other than that, thank you all for joining us. Again, I've been Bog Rider Josh.
I've been the Krampus.
And I'm Vincent.
Have a good one, everyone.